The crystal chandeliers of the Grand Plaza Hotel ballroom sparkled overhead as I adjusted my simple black dress, the most expensive thing I owned, yet still clearly out of place among the designer gowns surrounding me. My name is Emily Chen, and for the past 2 years, I've been living a double life that was about to dramatically unravel. Emily, more champagne for the Morrison Group. My boss, Nathan Drake, CEO of Drake Technologies, snapped his fingers without even looking at me. He was holding court with a group of investors, his perfect white smile gleaming as he charmed them with tales of our company's latest technological breakthroughs. Our company's breakthroughs. I suppressed a smile as I fetched the champagne, knowing that every innovation he was bragging about had come from my anonymous code submissions through the company's blind innovation portal. A system where employees could submit ideas without revealing their identities to prevent bias. The quantum encryption protocol was particularly brilliant, one investor was saying as I approached with the champagne tray. Your team must be exceptional. Only the best at Drake Technologies, Nathan boasted, then noticed me lingering. Emily, don't hover. These are private business discussions. Of course, sir. I turned to leave, but not before hearing him add in a stage whisper, just a secretary who got lucky with an invitation. The cleaning staff insisted on including support personnel this year. Diversity initiatives, you understand. The investors chuckled politely, but I noticed one woman in an elegant red dress giving me a more measured look. I recognized her as Catherine Morrison, the legendary venture capitalist known for spotting hidden potential others missed. If they only knew that just a secretary had a double PhD in quantum computing and artificial intelligence from MIT, completed in secret while working as a research assistant. If they knew that every major breakthrough Drake Technologies had achieved in the past 2 years came from the mysterious Phoenix, my online pseudonym, they wouldn't be laughing. But that was the point of my experiment, wasn't it? To prove that brilliant ideas could come from anywhere, and that the tech industry's biases were causing them to miss out on incredible talent. I hadn't planned to be a secretary. After finishing my dissertations, I'd apply to Drake Technologies' development team under my real credentials. The rejection letter had been swift and dismissive. While your academic achievements are impressive, we're looking for candidates with more real-world experience. That same day, I saw their posting for an executive assistant position. On a whim, I applied with a modified resume showing only my bachelor's in business administration. I was hired immediately. Within my first week, I discovered the Blind Innovation Portal. Originally created to allow lower-level developers to submit ideas anonymously. It wasn't meant for secretaries, but there was nothing in the system preventing me from using it, so Phoenix was born. My first submission was a small but elegant solution to a security flaw in their main product. I expected it to be ignored. Instead, Nathan himself had proclaimed it brilliant in the next company meeting, taking personal credit for fostering the kind of environment that produced such innovation. That should have bothered me, but instead it felt liberating. Without the weight of others' expectations or prejudices, I could let my ideas soar. Every night, after finishing my secretarial duties, I would work on new solutions, new innovations, all submitted through Phoenix's anonymous account. The company's value had tripled. Nathan's reputation as a technical genius soared, and I watched it all from my desk outside his office, taking notes in meetings where they discussed my own innovations, biting my tongue when they misunderstood key concepts that I couldn't explain without revealing myself. But now, after 2 years, it was time for the experiment to end. Not because I couldn't handle being underestimated. I'd grown quite used to that. No, it was because last week, I discovered something disturbing in the company's code repository. Someone was introducing subtle but dangerous vulnerabilities into our security systems. Backdoors that would allow unauthorized access to our clients' most sensitive data. At first, I thought it was just sloppy coding, but the pattern was too deliberate. Someone was sabotaging us from the inside. I traced the changes to a small group of developers working directly under Nathan. But when Phoenix submitted an urgent security report detailing the vulnerabilities, it was quietly buried. That's when I realized the sabotage went all the way to the top. Quite a party, isn't it? A voice startled me from my thoughts. Catherine Morrison had approached while I was lost in my memories. Yes, ma'am, I answered politely, staying in character. The champagne is excellent. Indeed, she studied me with sharp eyes. Tell me, how long have you worked for Nathan? 2 years. Interesting timing. She swirled her champagne thoughtfully. That's when Drake Technologies suddenly started producing truly innovative work. Their quantum encryption protocol was particularly impressive. The elegant mathematical proofs reminded me of some theoretical work I saw at MIT a few years ago. My heart skipped a beat. Catherine had been a guest lecturer for one of my graduate seminars. Though the student who wrote those proofs disappeared after graduation, she continued. Emily Chen, I believe her name was. Brilliant girl. Double PhD candidate. Some said she could revolutionize quantum computing. Her eyes locked with mine. No one knew what happened to her. Before I could respond, Nathan's voice boomed across the ballroom. Ladies and gentlemen, if I could have your attention, please. He took the stage, radiating confidence in his perfectly tailored tuxedo. Tomorrow morning, Drake Technologies will be making an historic announcement. Our quantum encryption technology has been selected to protect the new federal banking network. A contract worth over $5 billion. The crowd applauded. I felt sick. They were going to implement the compromised system across every major bank in the country. To my brilliant team, Nathan raised his glass, and to the mysterious Phoenix, wherever they are. Your contributions have made this possible. Interesting, Catherine murmured beside me. He doesn't seem concerned that Phoenix's security report exposed critical vulnerabilities in that same system last week. You know about that? I whispered. I make it my business to know everything about companies I might invest in. She handed me her card with a private number written on the back. Call me tonight. I think we have a lot to discuss about tomorrow's board meeting. As she walked away, my phone buzzed. An email from the system administrator. Someone was trying to delete Phoenix's entire history of submissions from the innovation portal. They were covering their tracks before the federal contract announcement. By tomorrow, there would be no record of my security warnings. No proof of who really created the technology they were about to deploy with known vulnerabilities. I looked at Catherine's card, then at Nathan celebrating with his executives. 2 years of working in the shadows, of proving that genius could come from anywhere, had led to this moment. Tomorrow's board meeting would change everything, but not in the way Nathan expected. I slipped out of the gala early, heading to my small apartment. I had a long night ahead of me, documenting everything before they could erase it. Tomorrow, Phoenix would finally step into the light. But first, I had a very interesting phone call to make to Catherine Morrison. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying your enemies, it's about revealing the truth they tried so hard to hide. Nathan's words echoed in my head. Just a secretary who got lucky. By this time tomorrow, he'd learned just how lucky they'd been to have me, and how unlucky they were about to become. That night, my apartment became mission control for what would become the most dramatic corporate revelation in tech history. My call with Catherine Morrison had been enlightening. They're moving more quickly than we expected, she told me. Nathan's planning to announce at the board meeting that Phoenix has agreed to reveal their identity. He's going to have someone pose as you. He can't, I said. The innovation portal requires specific cryptographic signatures for each submission. They can't replicate those. Unless they've already compromised that system too, Catherine pointed out. You're not the only one who's been watching Drake Technologies closely. My cybersecurity team has detected multiple attempts to breach our networks, all using eerily similar methods to the vulnerabilities you reported. I pulled up the company's secure development servers, using the administrative access I quietly maintained through a series of clever patches. Another benefit of being the invisible secretary who set up everyone's computers. They're deleting files right now, I said, watching lines of code vanish. But they don't know about my private repository. For 2 years, I've maintained perfect documentation of every submission, every line of code, every mathematical proof. Each file was timestamped, digitally signed, and stored with blockchain verification. More importantly, I had documented every instance of the malicious code they tried to insert into my systems. The board meeting is at 9 a.m., Catherine said. Nathan scheduled a press conference for 10 a.m. to announce the federal contract. How do you want to play this? I smiled, already formulating a plan. How would you like to make a surprise investment in Drake Technologies? The next morning, I arrived at work early, dressed in my usual modest business attire. Nathan barely glanced at me as he strode past my desk, focused on his phone. Clear my schedule after the board meeting, he barked. And make sure everyone signed those new NDAs. Yes, sir, I replied, already knowing that the NDAs in question were designed to silence anyone who might speak up about the security vulnerabilities. Would you like coffee for the board meeting? Just don't spill it this time, he said dismissively. I had never actually spilled coffee in my life, but Nathan had convinced himself that I was clumsy because that fit his preconception of me. It was amazing what people would believe when it confirmed their biases. At 8:55 a.m., I wheeled the coffee cart into the boardroom. The members were already gathering, along with key investors and developers. Nathan stood at the head of the table, practically glowing with anticipated triumph. Before we begin, he announced, I have some exciting news. Our mysterious phoenix has finally agreed to reveal himself. Right on cue, the door opened and Catherine Morrison walked in. Nathan's smile faltered slightly. Ms. Morrison, this is a closed board meeting. Actually, Catherine interrupted smoothly. As of 20 minutes ago, Morrison Ventures owns 15% of Drake Technologies. I believe that entity's my presence. She wasn't alone. Behind her came two serious-looking individuals who I recognized as agents from the Federal Technology Security Commission. What is this? Nathan demanded, his confidence cracking. This, Catherine said, is what happens when you try to sell compromised security systems to the federal government. She turned to me. Ms. Chen, I believe you have something to share with the board. Every head in the room turned to stare at me, the quiet secretary by the coffee cart. I straightened up, squared my shoulders, and stepped forward. My name is Dr. Emily Chen. I began, unpinning my hair and removing my glasses, small changes that suddenly made me look remarkably different. I hold dual PhDs in quantum computing and artificial intelligence from MIT, and for the past 2 years, I've been the developer known as Phoenix. The room erupted in chaos. Nathan's face went from red to white. That's impossible, he sputtered. You're a secretary. A secretary who just happened to be present for every major development meeting. I replied calmly, who set up all your computer systems, who had access to every document, every file, every conversation, and who watched as you and your team tried to insert dangerous backdoors into my encryption protocols. I connected my laptop to the room's display system. 2 years ago, Drake Technologies rejected my application to join the development team, citing lack of experience. So I conducted an experiment in unconscious bias by joining as a secretary instead. The screens filled with side-by-side comparisons, my original job application and rejection, followed by my secretarial application and immediate acceptance. Then came the stream of innovations I'd submitted as Phoenix, each with irrefutable proof of my authorship. Every major breakthrough this company has achieved since then came through the blind innovation portal. From me, the quantum encryption protocol. Mine, the adaptive AI architecture. Also mine, the neural network security system. Mine again. I turned to the federal agents, but last week, I discovered something disturbing. Someone was systematically introducing vulnerabilities into these systems. Backdoors that would allow unauthorized access to any network using our technology. The agents stepped forward, producing documents of their own. We've been investigating similar security breaches at other companies, one said. All traced back to a group we believe is operating within Drake Technologies. Nathan's face was now gray. These are baseless accusations. Actually, I interrupted. They're extensively documented. You see, Nathan, a secretary isn't just someone who brings coffee. We're the ones who handle all the paperwork, schedule all the meetings, and maintain all the records. More documents appear on screen. Emails, meeting notes, development logs. A comprehensive trail showing exactly who had ordered the compromised code to be inserted and who stood to profit from the security breaches. When you ordered all records of Phoenix's security warnings deleted last night, you didn't realize I'd already secured the evidence. Just like you never realized that the quiet secretary taking notes in the corner had designed the very systems you were trying to sabotage. The board members were whispering urgently among themselves. Nathan looked desperately around the room, finding no allies. Even if what you're saying is true, he tried, all your work belongs to Drake Technologies. You developed it while employed here. Actually, Catherine interjected, the blind innovation portal's terms of service, which you approved, specifically state that all submissions remain the intellectual property of their creators until formally transferred. A clause designed to protect anonymous developers exactly like Dr. Chen. She smiled coldly. Additionally, Morrison Ventures has already filed for emergency patents on behalf of Dr. Chen for all technologies submitted through Phoenix's account. They were approved this morning. The federal agents stepped forward. "Mr. Drake, we need you to come with us. We have some questions about your involvement in several national security breaches." As Nathan was led from the room, Catherine turned to the shell-shocked board members. "I believe you have some decisions to make about the company's future leadership." Meanwhile, Dr. Chen and I have a press conference to attend. An hour later, I stood at the podium where Nathan had planned to announce his fraudulent federal contract. Instead, I announced the launch of Phoenix Security Systems, a new division of Drake Technologies under my leadership, with Morrison Ventures as a major investor. The press went wild with the story, the secret genius who had exposed corporate corruption while proving that brilliance could wear any disguise. The company's stock actually rose once investors realized that the real innovator was still there, now in a position to lead openly. Most of Nathan's inner circle resigned rather than face federal investigations. The compromised code was identified and removed. The quantum encryption protocol, properly secured, was eventually approved for government use. Some of my former colleagues had trouble adjusting to taking directions from just a secretary. They soon found other jobs. Those who remained learned to look past titles and appearances, implementing a truly blind innovation system that has discovered other hidden geniuses within our ranks. Catherine Morrison became a close friend and mentor, helping me navigate the transition from shadow genius to public figure. "You proved it wasn't just about the code," she told me. "You showed that real innovation means being willing to see potential everywhere." I kept my old desk outside the CEO's office, which was now mine, and hired a brilliant secretary who I strongly suspect is a hidden mathematical prodigy. I make sure she has full access to the innovation portal. The plaque on my desk has two names, Dr. Emily Chen and Phoenix. A reminder that sometimes the greatest power comes not from hiding who you are, but from revealing it at exactly the right moment. Nathan eventually took a plea deal, providing evidence about the larger network of technology theft he'd been involved with. I testified at his sentencing, wearing the same simple black dress from the gala. The greatest security flaw in any system, I told the court, is the assumption that brilliance only looks one way, only comes from one place. That prejudice creates blind spots that bad actors exploit. True security means being willing to look past surfaces to see the potential underneath. These days, when people whisper as I pass in the halls of Drake Technologies, it's not because I'm invisible, it's because they know my story. The secret genius who served coffee, took notes, and changed an industry by proving that innovation can come from anywhere. Every morning, I walk past the security desk where I first entered as a newly hired secretary. The guard who used to barely look at me now snaps to attention. I always smile and ask about his daughter, who recently joined our intern program after showing remarkable coding skills. Because that's the real lesson in all of this. Every person has hidden depths, untapped potential, brilliant ideas waiting to be heard. Sometimes they just need someone to look past the surface and give them a chance to shine. Nathan never understood that. He was so busy maintaining appearances, playing the role of the brilliant tech leader, that he missed the real brilliance right in front of him. His need to seem superior blinded him to true innovation. Me? I keep my secretary's notebook as a reminder, right next to my advanced degrees and industry awards. It reminds me to look for brilliance everywhere, to never assume that job titles define capability. After all, you never know when the quiet person taking notes in the corner might just be a genius in disguise.